I always fade that one out because I don't have anything short enough to go after Googology for. Hi! Cheeb will take Butch. How are we doing? Are we good? Are we well? Hope we're good and well. What up indeed? One Butch, please. Get some Mulzak. And hop on over to... Oh, I need to readjust this, don't I? Because... things, swoosh. There we go. Stretched and showered and fed. Nice. I'm two of those things. Ready for drawing times. Well, hopefully drawing times. We'll see. The recap of things in order. So it started with my parents met at high school. We are doing Doctor Who Doodles, where I'm drawing.
You know, I really like that.
Yep, me too.
Are we in the right theater?
It was only a kiss. What was the thing, like, I only found out a very long time after the song that there's an innuendo in there that I did not pick up on all the times I played that song in secondary school. What is it? It's at the end of the verse, so I just remember that. And they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick, and it's all in my head, but she's touching his chest. Yeah. There's an implied innuendo in there that I just did not pick up on as a teenager. But yeah, anyway. Doctor Who, that's what I was talking about. We're very focused today is the thing. So we're drawing Doctor Who villains from memory, all the ones that I have seen. I have them in a little randomizer here. And we're just pulling them randomly, drawing them from memory, and then ranking them. A bit of a warning for today and tomorrow's stream. My tablet is playing up a bit. It's very intermittent. It might not happen at all in the stream. It might happen immediately. But like, between every 3 and 20 lines just don't happen. So if it keeps being a thing, I may have to, you know, chase up the warranty and see if I can get... I think it's the stylus, but we'll see. It's fine. It's annoying, but hopefully it won't be a problem. I have no real confidence in, you know, assuming it won't be a problem because I've just basically faced the problem by not doing much drawing. Cassandra again. We may get Cassandra again. We'll see. Let's have a look. Boop. The Whisper Men. Oh, good. I don't really remember the point of these other than to have a scary thing, but that's most of Doctor Who, really, isn't it? So let's go. Oh, I haven't picked my purple. Where's my purple? Here's my purple. Whisper, whisper, whisper. I have drawn one thing today, but I don't think that really qualifies me to say that I have confidence in my ability to draw. Top hat, good start. Chase them up tomorrow, hopefully they'll reply on Monday, maybe. The problem is I'll have to take like video evidence of it, and because it's intermittent and random, when it starts happening, it's pretty consistent for like the next minute. Which is why I thought originally that it was a software thing, but I've uninstalled all the drivers and reinstalled them and done all sorts of bits and bobs and nothing really is happening. When in doubt, top hat. In this instance, there is actually a top hat. Now I've got to remember how top hats sit on their head, which is more of an issue. And I know I've done this for like every monster in this list so far, but I am going to do the sort of mouth going with pointy teeth. Like that. Right. Very, very sharp cheekbones. No eyes. Good monster mouth. Put a fez on the top hat. This is a Matt Smith episode, so why not? This is one of the last Matt Smith episodes. This was... It literally said it on the thing. Name of the Doctor? The Name of the Doctor, yes. Because it was a joke. Kind of pun thing. It's like the episode's called The Name of the Doctor and everyone's... Oh, that was an example of a line that just didn't happen. Everyone's after him, be like, what's your name? Tell me the name of the Doctor, blah, blah, blah. But the episode ends with the reveal of the War Doctor and how the War Doctor did things that weren't in the name of the Doctor. So it was more to do with like a meaning thing rather than a specific definition. It's a very Moffat idea. Someone had to explain it to me. I didn't get it myself. No eyes, but yes, top hat. Interesting dress code. So these are, and okay, full admission, there is an episode that's quite important to this episode, which was the Christmas special that year called The Snowmen, I think. I haven't seen that one. I missed that one. Which may go some way towards explaining why I don't like Clara, because that was her sort of introductory episode, kind of. Asylum of the Daleks was her real introduction, but whatever. But what was the thing? I was saying something. Yes, so that episode reintroduces an old villain from the classic series called the Great Intelligence. And by old, I mean black and white. I believe those episodes are lost, in fact. And it's just, classic Doctor Who thing of like, it's an intelligence. What is it? It's an intelligence. It doesn't have a physical form, it's an intelligence. And so it needs some sort of physical form through which to interact with the world, and one of the ways it seems to do that in this episode is by just making, like, weird, white-faced, no-eyed, horrible teeth ghouls in Victorian clothing for some reason. You need a villain, didn't you? I don't know, some sort of Victorian soup thing going on. Like an Undertaker kind of vibe. That's the idea. I don't know if they appear in the Snowmen episode, but... Anyway, the Great Intelligence comes back for this episode, and this is the vector through which they do shenanigans. One of the fun things they can do is that they can just sort of, like, phase through matter, which means that they can just sort of stick their hand in your chest and grab your heart. That feels OP to me. It's used in, like, a scene. And I would say it's used in a scene and then never again, but that scene is right near the end of the episode, so it seems fair. We're not here to do proper hat angles. It's fine. Why would you explain something important in a Christmas episode? It's the introduction of a new character, because the last characters got stuck in New York. Rest in peace, Rory. You didn't actually die, you just retired in New York. That's a blue. They're very shiny. Kind of Auton-esque, now that I think about it. Yeah, don't really know their deal. They're there to be scary. And Richard E. Grant is there to be the Great Intelligence with a body, I guess. Again, haven't watched the episode, but he gets that body, so probably steals it from someone, they usually do. Good for Rory, he deserves a nice retirement. I mean, he retired with Amy, so I'm not sure about nice. No, Amy's fine. I mean, like 3 or 4 episodes before that, they were about to get a divorce, but don't worry about it. Giving you Nightside vibes, the eyeless monster stuff. Wow. And the fairs, of course. Don't forget the fairs. Cool, Whispermen. They're there. They're there to be spooky. Their design is spooky. Spooky. They're not going very high. Yeah, I'll put them on par with The Wire, because I do remember them, despite the fact they didn't really do anything. So they're spooky, sufficiently spooky. The Whispermen, everyone. Maybe they finally got a divorce in New York. What happens in New York stays in New York. I mean, that is literally the premise of the end of that episode, is what happens in New York stays in New York because of time shenanigans. That's why they're stuck there. But yeah, they could have got divorced in New York. I believe there was an epilogue where Amy explains that they lived happily together, but also she could have lied. She does that a lot. You're a genius. You're as much of a genius as Moffat, and I feel like that's an insult. You're at least as much of a genius as Moffat. You should write Doctor Who. Frankly, you couldn't do worse than some people who have done it professionally. Right. I was thinking, actually, because Cheeb was umming and ahhing about the idea of doing a little Doctor Who RPG campaign. And I said, go for it, because, you know, Doctor Who is just sort of like made up as you go anyway. And I was thinking, like, being the showrunner of Doctor Who is basically just like running an RPG. Like, the given, like, story points and back lore and given bits of plot and whatever, there you can just sort of play with them. It's fine. Make it up as you go along. It's your world. You can do what you want. You can ignore all the previous episodes. It's fine. Smash the lore with a sledgehammer. They've done it like twice in the last 10 years. Let's have a thing to draw, shall we? We've done the Whispermen. Now it's time for the shouty people. The Toclafane. The Toclafane. I know the Toclafane. They're unpleasant. Should I draw the unpleasant or should I draw the fine? You probably do know this one. This is a famous episode. It's an episode that contains, I believe, the Scissor Sisters. Very unpleasant. I'll give you a vote. Do I draw the unpleasant thing or the fine thing? In or out? If not, I will flip a coin. I don't have a coin. Fine. Ball. Let's draw. Fairly generic fantasy sci-fi ball. Nightmare Feel Bad. It is pretty bad. So the Toclafane don't exist. But then they do. Toclafane were a story. What the Time Lords told kids to scare them at night. And so when the Master came up with a sort of new species, what would do lots of murdering and killing and stuff, he decided, oh, hey, let's call them the Toclafane. That's a fun name. We'll take the thing from my childhood nightmares. Why not? I think there's probably like an antenna or something. There were loads of spiky things in a little antenna there. Just a ball, really. But the idea is basically end of the universe. Entropy has come for most things. Heat death of the universe. Human race is struggling on a faraway planet, trying to stay alive against just entropy itself. And a savior comes along to give them a second chance, an ability to travel back into the past with new physical forms. And live their life just killing past humans. And he turns them into the Toclafane, which is just like faces in orbs. So the orbs open up and there's just like a horrible face in there. So they're technically humans. Humans from the future who have been turned into killer robots. This one has a gun. Catch you later. Bye. Have a good. The finale of season 3. Yes, it was. You are correct. And have a good. Go get books. Enjoy books. Find stories better than this one. The sound of drums. Do 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 do. But yeah, it's basically when they reintroduced the Master. Derek Jacobi was the Master for like a minute, and then he got replaced by Jonathan Sim, which was a shame. Didn't really like his Master personally, but that's fine. One of the very rare instances, I'm going to go on record and say probably the most controversial thing anyone's ever said. I think Stephen Moffat wrote Jonathan Sim as the Master better than Russell T Davies did. He was only in like one episode, but he was written better in that than he was anywhere in the Russell T Davies era. I don't like my Master being the Joker. I like my Master being the Master. And he's more the Master in Stephen Moffat's one. Also, he flirts with the past incarnation of himself, which feels about right for him. So, hey, that's me. Fancy a date? Self-cessed in my Doctor Who? More likely than you'd think. Beep beep. Master, less like Joker, more like Lupin. I mean, yeah. The Master. Okay, original. Let's go back here. This guy loved a disguise. He's constantly in disguise. Constantly pulling off crappy rubber masks to reveal it's him. Real big fan. It was a very much spy versus spy energy with the original incarnation of the Master and the Doctor. Or the third Doctor, but Lupin is the Master. You could do a Lupin turns out to be the Master episode. It's entirely possible. You could make that work. I believe they did that with Rasputin in the end of Chibnall era, or at least he was like pretending to be Rasputin or something. Don't know why Rasputin, so they could do the dance, I think. Yeah, there's a whole thing of him dancing to Ra Ra Rasputin while looking like Rasputin. I don't know if he's actually meant to be disguised as Rasputin, but... Oh, so I guess that's why they did the Spy Master thing with Dewan. Was because the original Master was quite spy-y. Never thought about that. He calls himself the Spy Master. Makes sense. Toclafane. They're things with guns. Cool notion of just taking the scared humans from the future, turning them into killer robots, and saying, have fun. You can just go back in time and kill everything. Why not? You've suffered so much. Enjoy just destroying all. And they seem to be having a great time, which is scary. It's in service of an episode that isn't the best. Literally, this episode... How can I describe how this episode ends? This episode ends with humanity singing a hymn to the Doctor and believing in him, believing in his power, and through that belief, he channels it into regenerating his body into a younger form and floating through the air on friendship is magic. That's it. It's literally friendship is magic. It's so stupid. But the Toclafane are pretty neat. Conceptually, well, they will go on the tier. This is the tier of things that are conceptually pretty neat, but in practice not really very well utilized. That is the tier. Would the Master skate away on the Rosetta Stone and kiss Queen Victoria? Oh, it depends which one. Missy, absolutely. Ainley, certainly. I'm not sure. What's his name? Delgado. I'm not sure Delgado would kiss. He would probably skate. I'm not sure he'd kiss. Sim would both. Yeah, Sim would do both. Dewan would just blow the whole place up. He's Dewan is the jokeriest Master. And I haven't even seen him. I've only seen clips. So in general, on average, yes. On average, yes. Definitely Missy. A pretty solid certainty on the skating, but the kissing depends on the iteration exactly. Which is probably also true of the Doctor, to be fair. That's the great thing is if you want to write Doctor Who, your version of the Doctor and your version of the Master, they can kind of do what you want. There's also the Rani, who I have drawn here, who is another Time Lord, so you can do whatever you want with them. Their main deal is evil scientist, so you can have fun with that as well. Yeah, let's draw another thing. We've done the Toclafane. They're gone. Now it's the Silurians. Are classic. Now, do I draw the old Silurians or the new Silurians? The old Silurians. Whenever I think of the old Silurians, I hear a noise, which was in the soundtrack of the first episode they were in, Doctor Who and the Silurians, and it's supposed to be a scary moment of them sneaking up on the Doctor and paralyzing him, but for some reason they decided to score it with a kazoo. I don't think it is a kazoo. I think it's like a double reed thing, but it's so silly. I'm gonna draw the old Silurians because the new Silurians just look like people with horns. But what are the new ones that the old ones look like? They have like an eye up here. So the Silurians, in very conceptually one of my favorite ideas for a monster in Doctor Who, because they're not really a monster. They are, as the name may suggest, from Earth during the Silurian era, which was an era of time like Jurassic, I guess. So it's a bit weird to call them Silurians because that's just a period of time. But they are underground. They were a species that were alive then and then got sort of like frozen in time artificially because meteors were going off and the planet was exploding. So they were like, that's fine. We'll just sort of, go into suspended animation. That's cool. And then when we'll wake up, we'll, get back out there and we'll do what we were doing, just living on the Earth. And when they wake up, humans are there. And the humans are like, who are you? I don't like you. You're scary. I'm going to shoot you. So you end up with a cool thing of technically, these things they were here first, and we were monkeys when they were being all civilized on the surface. I can't remember what their eyes are like. I can't remember most of what they're like, to be honest. Give them big eyes. Like that. Do you know what? I have completely forgotten what old Silurians look like. So we're going to draw a new one. I was so confident in starting this. Learning so much about the Master. There's a lot to learn about the Master. Mostly, Tumblr could inform you about a lot of things. There's eyes, you thought you'd already drawn the Fane. What I was drawing, there's like an extra eye up here, which is like a laser as well, for reasons that aren't explained. There's sort of bubbles there, and then I think gills. I think they've got gills. Let's just have fun with this design. Let's just mess around with it. There's that. Maybe there's a thing. I'm lizard man from the past. I have gills. Yeah, this is what they look like, definitely. You can trust me. I've seen Doctor Who. I'm a Silurian. Do they have I think they might actually have frills like that. It's the chin as well. I don't know. Just looks like their name is Greg. It's Greg the Silurian, everybody. They're perfect. What more could you need? I have the... How about... That's even more unsettling. Best friend Greg the Silurian? Why not? I vetoed the anime AI, unfortunately. It could be made to work, but little dot. Well, now it's unknown. What letter is this? This is looking more like the Sea Devils. I haven't got around to the Sea Devils because I haven't seen an episode with them in, but soon. That's the third Doctor one. I was making my way through the third Doctor episode still recently. Anyway, everybody, this is Greg, the definite Silurian. Look, in fairness, most of this episode takes place underground, where it's very dark. So... But yeah, it's kind of a fun idea. I really like the idea for the episode. Be like, you know, this isn't an alien invasion. Like, they were here. They are terrestrial. They're just creatures that existed. But obviously humans are like, oh my god, aliens! And so, like, the Doctor has to, like, mediate between the humans being reactionary and these things being reactionary, and because they don't care about us. And we're like, you weren't here when we were alive. Go away. And button nose. Unknown Greg. Unknown has taken over Greg. This is what they look like. But yeah, so I like the idea of the episode, and then right at the end, just after the Doctor's like, hey, I've broken a peace between the humans and the Silurians. Wow, what a bright new future they have. The humans just nuke them. So yeah, the very melancholy end to the episode. Why? Sometimes humans are the real monsters. This will happen a lot in Doctor Who. The similar thing happened to... Where are they? I think I mentioned these guys when we were drawing... Wherever they are. Oh yeah, these guys who I also drew very accurately. Of like, the Doctor's like, go away and tell everybody this planet's defended. And, okay, fine, we'll surrender and retreat. And then the humans blow them up, because... Why not? Yeah, the humans are the real monster, but sometimes they can not be for unknown Greg. Feel free to add Greg the Silurian. Still pissed about the Odyssey. Fair. But yeah, Greg's here. I like the Silurians. Again, they have a real cool premise. They had a real cool episode. They were brought back in the modern series with basically exactly the same episode. Because New Who has very few original ideas for things to do with the old monsters. So they had a two-parter, which was basically the same episode. Written by Chris Chibnall. It wasn't good. Although he's doing a lot better in his own series, as I've watched so far. And then Madame Vastra became a recurring character who was a Silurian, who was also in a lesbian relationship with a human. She was part of the Paternoster gang. I enjoy her. She's cool. I believe she introduces herself as, hello, I'm Madame Vastra, a lizard from the beginning of time, and here's my wife. Which, frankly, if you're living in the Victorian era as a lizard, you might as well. And we're all enjoying watching you be pissed at the Odyssey. It's so weird. I don't even know how I got this up. Oh, it's so weird. everything I've heard about the Odyssey is so polarizing. People are like, this is amazing, this is awful, this is amazing, this is awful. This like, and like they seem to both coexist at the same time, and it's a weird quantum state of amazing and awful. I've not heard anyone say it was fine. Silurians, they're good. Yeah, they're good. I like them. Going in A. Good job, Silurians. You deserve to coexist on Earth with humans. Will you? Probably not. Because that would sort of mess up the continuity for future writers, where they have to now bear in mind that humanity and Silurians are coexisting for all of history hereafter. I mean, you don't have to. There was a giant robot in London and no one talks about that. Speaking of things that nobody talks about, the Collector from the Sunmakers. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. I considered not including this because it is kind of just a guy. It's a little guy, but it is kind of just a guy. The reason I included it is because I wanted to talk about the episode, which was an episode written by a writer who was really annoyed at how much tax he was paying. And so he took out that frustration by writing an episode set on a planet where people are taxed to death. And it's really stupid when you view it through that lens. Like, it is like... It's very much set up as like a kind of corporate tax sort of thing. Everything's owned by corporations. They have like artificial suns so that if you don't pay your taxes, they'll just turn the sun off. All these sorts of things. So there is like a sort of legitimate sort of, anti-capitalist sort of story to be told there. But also just like, it's just a guy who's like, I pay too much tax. Grumble, grumble, grumble. And so what we get is just a sort of little angry guy with big eyebrows, if I remember correctly, like comically long, sort of Oompa Loompa sort of eyebrows. Subtlety's overrated. Your mum really liked it. She's neither read the Odyssey nor watches a lot of action movies. So this is it. Yeah, this is the dichotomy. It really seems to depend on who you are and what you're looking for in a thing. But also, like. It was only fairly recently I really learned who Christopher Nolan was. And I learned, firstly, that he's supposedly a very well-known director who makes a lot of critically acclaimed movies. And also hasn't made a good one for like 10 years. Keeps making films that no one thinks are very good, but also people think are good. Like they're big blockbusters that make a lot of money, but also everyone complains about them. It's weird. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to say about this guy was, he's probably got pointy ears, why not, is he's small and he's sitting on a toilet for the whole thing. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but it's basically a toilet. It's just like a little chair with a hole in the middle of it. And when his profits start going bad, he shrinks and swirls around the toilet and gets dumped somewhere. It's a very weird scene. Hi, Oobs, we should stop talking about the Odyssey now. How you doing? To be fair, we were just talking about Christopher Nolan. But yeah, how you doing? Is you doing good? I'm talking about somebody who swirls into a toilet when they die. Because they're not making enough profit from taxing people. Meaning I've got a little machine. I'm the collector. He speaks like this. I'm the collector. Will this increase our profits? Wait. Got tiny legs. These are my little legs. I have massive arms, but little legs. Turn out about Odyssey for Ubs, so Ubs can watch. Everybody deserves to give things a fair shot. That is also one of my my favorite things about watching old Doctor Who, is that I have no idea what the general consensus is. So I can go into an episode and go, oh, that was really good, and the consensus is, actually, people don't like that episode. And then I can watch another episode and go, wow, what a load of crap, and it's a fan favourite. It's brilliant. The Curse of Peladon. Terrible episode. People love that one. Absolutely dreadful. It's got the worst cliffhanger that I've seen in an episode, which is that a bunch of people are talking in a room for 20 minutes. They say, we should go to a different room. They turn, walk out of the room, something falls from a great height, because there's like an assassination plot or something. Something falls from a great height towards them. Ah, freeze frame, cliffhanger. Oh no, is the thing gonna hit them? They come back to the episode, next episode. Things falling, it falls on the floor in front of them. They go, oh my god, that was an attempt on my life. Let's turn back around and go into the room we were just in and talk for another 20 minutes. So like an uninterrupted 40-minute conversation that they just decided to put a cliffhanger in the middle of. It was so bad. Anyway, Collector. Not much to say, I just wanted to talk about the episode because it's a funny concept. What if taxes killed you? To be fair, I haven't actually given this guy, the person who wrote this, as much credit as he probably does deserve, because A, he was one of the classic Doctor Who writers, and B, what he was actually complaining about was because there was a weird loophole in tax law. He had to pay tax twice on one set of earnings because he technically had 2 job titles. And it was his frustration at trying to prove that he was only actually being paid once that made him write the episode. So. But it's funnier if you just say... he was annoyed at tax. It's funny if you're it's always funny misrepresenting somebody's personal toil versus struggle. I don't know why I gave him a dog business suit. I don't know where he plays. I'll be honest, I don't really remember much about this episode. It's just a funny concept. This guy, whatever, he's there. He's there. He probably didn't need to be there, so he's gonna go there. He's not even scary. It's just kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, how are you doing, Noobs? Are you having a nice day? And had a nice day? Continuing to have a nice day? Will you have a nice day? Please have a nice day. Also, you can tell the ones that I wasn't entirely confident in that I would remember the name of, so I put the name of the episode next to it. Also, the episode starts with Tom Baker. This was a Tom Baker episode. Episode starts with the Fourth Doctor coaxing somebody off the edge of a skyscraper who was going to jump by saying, "Hey, do you want a jelly baby?" Suicide averted by Jelly Baby. Speaking of babies, the Time Beetle. The Time Beetle. In other news, you're making a 9 p.m. chocolate vanilla cake because you have no impulse control. That sounds brilliant. I'm just going to draw Beetle, because that's what it looks like. Like a Hercules kind of vibe. I'm a beetle. I don't know how many legs a beetle has. 6? Probably 6. It does time. It does indeed. Well, it kind of does time. It kind of does reality, really. It should be called the Reality Beetle. I'm not entirely sure how it works because it wasn't well explained. But because that's not really the focus of the episode. But basically, the idea is they wanted to do an episode about an alternate reality where things go wrong. With one small change, reality can be altered. Butterfly effect, but instead of a butterfly, it's a beetle. And what happens is the beetle like latches onto your back and changes reality for you. And it's just sort of always there, but no one really sees it. So you got this giant beetle on your back. It's big. It's a big thing. Vaguely creepy, but also it's not really explained how this, every time a beetle is a little click, click. But yeah. It is there. It is literally a MacGuffin. It is not really a villain, but it is the thing that causes all the problems in the thing, so I included it as the villain. But yeah, it's from an episode called Turn Left, because the thing that changes is Donna, played by Catherine Tate, unexpectedly very good companion, given how much I disliked Catherine Tate before she took the role. Not as a person, she's just a comedian and I didn't find her comedy funny. Yeah, so it basically takes her back in time and makes her turn right at a junction instead of turning left, and that changes the course of her life. She never meets the Doctor. Societal collapse, the apocalypse happens. That feels like I'm being hand wavy, and that's because I am, but also so's the episode, kinda. Also, I've just realised that's probably the bit that should have, because that's where the wings come out, isn't it? I am a bit. I'm here to steal your time. And the only reason this episode gets resolved is because a character from a previous episode who moved into a different dimension goes into this dimension and goes, "Hey, something's wrong with your dimension." How that works, I don't know, because why wouldn't she just go to the dimension where everything's fine? Not sure. This is the problem when you start talking about dimensions. Or realities, I should say, rather than dimension. Butthead. We're going to Butthead. Yeah, I feel like this episode was really just existed so that Rose could come back and be like, "Oh my god, it's Rose!" Meanwhile, I was like, "Oh, it's Rose." One of my least favourite things about the fandom of Doctor Who, and there are quite a lot of things to be upset about, but one of my least favourite things is how there is a general consensus that Rose Tyler, the protagonist, well, basically, the companion from the first series of the reboot, haunts the narrative. She haunts the narrative of Doctor Who. And I don't think you can say that somebody haunts the narrative when they just keep coming back and keep getting mentioned. Like, haunting the narrative is like when the narrative is like, it keeps moving around the gap you've left. It's not that. She just keeps being part of it. She just keeps coming back. They won't shut up about her. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the character, but that's not what that is. Anyway, Time Beetle. It's not haunting if she's there. Like, she was in series 1 and 2. She was mentioned all the way through series 3. She came back in series 4. She was never gone. Series 5, it was a different showrunner, so everything moved on, but like... Okay, Beetle. We have Little Beetle. It's a MacGuffin, not a villain. It could have literally been anything, so it's completely replaceable. It's kind of creepy, the idea of having a beetle on your back and you're not realizing it. Very SCP. There is an SCP like that, actually, isn't there? So we might as well have the SCP and not this. I'm going to put them there purely because now they're on the same level as the Macra, which means that there's a crab and beetle party. Crabs, cybermats, whatever they are, And beetles, they can have a little party. Little clickety clack. Crab disco. Crab disco. Crab disco. Now there's a reference that none of you will get. I mean, the crab disco is Call of Cthulhu, but do I still have that emote? I might do. Yeah, I do. Crab disco. Yeah. Crab dance. Not the best crab dance emote on Twitch. There are better, but it's mine. It's not perfect, but it's mine. Speaking of things that aren't perfect, whoa, Dalek Sec. Oh boy. Right. Daleks in Manhattan time. I have a story to tell you about Daleks in Manhattan that I only recently learned. Because it's not actually about Daleks in Manhattan, because no one cares about this episode. Speaking of Butthead, let's start with the Butthead. So, let's explain Dalek Sec first. Dalek Sec was Series 3. They wanted to do a two-parter with Daleks, and they wanted it to be where the Daleks are doing experiments on people in Manhattan in the 1950s. I think the 1950s. Might have been the 1940s. Might have even been earlier. Actually, it probably was earlier, actually, wasn't it? 30s? I'm going to say 30s. Yeah, for some reason, there's a cult of Daleks. I can't remember what they're called. The cult of something. And they're experimenting on humans. They happen to get back to 1930s Manhattan or whatever. And they do some experiments on humans. And they're like, what if we made a version of Daleks that had human properties? Because, like, you know, the Doctor's keeps beating us. So clearly there's some sort of advantage there. And humans are very similar to the Doctor, like remarkably similar. Given that humans and Time Lords have nothing in common. They just happen to look identical. So what if we made a hybrid of Dalek and human? And that's Dalek Sec. Originally was just a Dalek, then became a hybrid with tentacle butt head. Not human, is a Dalek. Well, is half Dalek, half human. And I kind of love the reveal of this character, because it's like the Dalek comes out and be like, I'm human and Dalek. Whoa! And then, like, not even 2 minutes later, the other Daleks are like, this was a mistake, put him in chains. You're not a true Dalek anymore. So yeah, that was your plan. Your plan was to make something that wasn't a Dalek anymore, and then you're like, oh my god, it's not a Dalek. I'm gonna have like side eye like that. Don't think. You have a nose? You probably don't have a nose. I think you might also have an eye there. Stick with the theme. Actually, no, you only have one eye. Do you only have one eye? You might only have one eye. That might be what I'm getting confused about. That's probably it. I think that's it. But anyway, this was a two-parter. I'd also like to point out that in order to facilitate their hybrid experiments, they first decided, well, we'll do it with some simpler things before we get a Dalek involved, because there's literally 4 of us, so we've only got 4 chances. Dalek unknown. He's also wearing a suit. So what they actually do before they start doing Dalek human experiments is they do pig human experiments. So before you know this is really an episode about Daleks, you just find like pig humans. They make a pig man. This looks silly, but I think it's accurate. For once in this stream, I do believe this is accurate. Yeah. So this is Dalek Sec. I just find the execution of this laughable, because it is literally like, what if we made a human Dalek hybrid? Oh no, we made a human Dalek hybrid. Imprison them. Like, what was the point of this plan? But the interesting story I have is, and unfortunately this does mention Stephen Moffat, but it mentions Stephen Moffat before everyone hated him, so it's fine. Yours is are you looking up the actual one? So this was series 3, and Stephen Moffat had agreed that they gave it a suit, because Dalek's no shame. I think they just they used somebody who was wearing a suit as their basis to steal the body. Again, stealing bodies, that's a whole Doctor Who thing. Just because this one, because you got curious. But yeah, so Stephen Moffat was penned to write this 2-parter originally, for Series 3. And he was also working on a TV show, Jekyll, which was a reimagining of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. A modern reimagining, because he's an original man who comes up with lots of original ideas. And he was penned in to do this 2-parter, Dalek 2-parter, and he was doing this Jekyll show, and he was like, I've overbooked myself. I can't do both of these. I've messed up. And so he went to Russell T Davies, who was in charge of Doctor Who at the time, and said, I've messed up. I said I could do this 2-parter. I can't. I'm sorry. By way of apology, I will instead do the episode in this series that doesn't have the Doctor in it, because no one likes writing those. I'll do that instead. And so he wrote the episode Blink, which is one of the most famous episodes of Doctor Who ever. So we almost didn't do that. But the thing I like about this, and the reason that I'll bring it up while Oobs is here, is he wrote Blink, and he was like, brilliant. It went out. He didn't really like it that much. He handed it in, and the producer was like, this is one of the best things you've ever written. He's like, no, it isn't. But then it went out and people loved it. And he's like, this is an amazing springboard. My show Jekyll's coming out soon. People are gonna, all the hype's there, the bandwagon is gonna be great. And then no one liked Jekyll. So it had a happy ending. He doesn't have taste, so it doesn't surprise me. That was the other thing about, like, my favourite episode of Doctor Who ever, which was written by Moffat, was Heaven Sent. And apparently all the way through making Heaven Sent, he was like, cool, this is a good idea, this is great, this is cool. And as soon as they finished shooting on it, he was like, the hell have I just filmed? Just filmed art house Doctor Who. No one wants art house Doctor Who. This is a disaster. So you might have a point in saying that he doesn't have taste. Because I love that episode. It's brilliant. Dalek Sec. I'll be honest, I was going to put him quite low, but I quite like this. Quite like this drawing. This Dalek Sec. Cheap, do you want to make Dalek Sec come back? Because he's kind of cool. He's cute. I remember nothing about him as a character. He was a Dalek in a human body. He sent you this drawing. It's very small. Jekyll was ass. It was. Nobody liked it. But then he tried it again with Sherlock and it worked. And then he tried it again with Dracula and it didn't work. Has he done another one? He's probably done another one. You're extra spicy today? No, we love it, don't worry. Bring the spice. Also, bring the cake. Hope that's coming along well. Dalek Sec. Unfortunately, I appear to have dragged the background at some point. That's not how this works. Let me just. What are you doing over there? That's fine. Let's lock the background, shall we? Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to put you low because your episode was crap. But you could redeem yourself. You're at least memorable. I do remember you. Because you're stupid. So do all of these. You will make them come back. You remember nothing about anything you've said. Brilliant. You're better than the average Doctor Who showrunner. It comes from a place of love. You take Dalek Sec and make you want to be his friend. Yes! That's what I want. Yes. There's Dalek Sec from Daleks in Manhattan. Next up! It's not the last we'll see of the Daleks. The Peg Dolls from Night Terrors. Oh, good. Oh, good. We thought we'd had enough of Moffat. Now it's time for Mark Gatiss. Right. Every time I have fun making fun of Stephen Moffat, Mark Gatiss shows up. This happens all the time. So this was from... Ooh, what series was this? Series 6? 7? 6 or 7? And this was an episode with what if a child's nightmares were real? I don't remember most of this episode. It's not his best, and that's saying a lot. Remember you saying that the Master would skate on the Rosetta Stone and maybe kiss Queen Victoria, but that depends, which is all you need, really. Remember, 0 names or 0 plots apart from that. But if you want any other minimal information, do let me know. That runs a little maybe further apart. That feels about right. So this one is set in, like, in a dollhouse with these, like, peg dolls, but they're massive because you're small. Again, I do not remember the actual mechanism by which this occurs in the episode. They wanted a scary episode with little toys that are, like, sort of made of wood. And they're big and have just sort of hollow eyes. This one is gonna have a head. And yeah, all I really remember about these is they just felt like they were trying too hard. They're kind of cute. I've drawn them kind of cute, but they're really they really want to be creepy. They really want to be creepy, and they're just not. I'm sure some people were scared by it. I'm sure kids were scared by it. Which is probably, let's face it, the target audience. But never forget, some people write these episodes with kids in mind. And there's me, cynical old teenage me. How old was I when this episode came out? I don't know. And this was another episode, if I remember correctly, where the thing that saved everybody was the power of love. Although in this case, it was the power of love of a father for his son, which is quite nice. Makes a change. Divorced dad trying his best. I think divorced. Maybe widowed? Can't remember. No, not him. Just more. Back dolls. Got to push them further into Coraline vibes, exactly. These drawings are reminding you of a game, but you don't know which one. I also don't know which. So I hope that helps. Little sack people game? Big little planet? Little big planet? Big little tiny huge planet? Doctor Who plot where King Henry VIII goes through all the fates he put his wives through. Sorry if the cadence just reminded you of the whole divorce beheaded died, divorce beheaded survived thing, yes. I mean, that could happen. Afterlives? Afterlives? What is the plural of afterlife? Are known to be a thing. Consciences can continue in a variety of ways in Doctor Who, mostly electronically. So the idea of somebody who wants to continuously kill Henry VIII could happen. Little sack boy. Not that one. The little gyroids in Animal Crossing. Who doesn't want to continuously kill Henry VIII? Has the Doctor ever met Henry VIII? Yes. Was it in this series? Might have been in this series. Met his legs, at least. Hid under his bed for some reason. That was just like an incidental comic skit thing. Adventures with Amy and Rory. Don't think he's ever met him, like, in a proper episode. Has met Queen Elizabeth I several times. I think the Doctor's married to her. Anyway, so I guess the Doctor is, or one of the incarnations of the Doctor is Henry VIII's son-in-law. So probably, you know. I don't think I can put them on the same line as good idea, poorly executed, because it's not really a good idea, it's just a fun design. So I guess C? I remember nothing about the episode except love saves the day. But they're a fun design. They're creepy. They're not creepy. They're trying really, really hard to be creepy, but that makes them endearing to me. Got really excited about a one-shot for a Doctor Who episode in Dutch history where you guys just have no clue what's wrong until aliens suddenly show up. You're describing so many episodes of Doctor Who, and that's great. You're describing what's the one about the Great Fire of London? The Visitation. That was one. What's the card dice? Oh, the card, yes. Lost in Random. Yes. Lost in Random. It does have that vibe, doesn't it? Mad Kissing. Neat. That's what they're reminding you of. There you go. And that can't be bad, can it? That was a nice game. It was a dice game. There you go. I started being mean to Mark Gatiss, but honestly, he didn't design them, did he? That was the art department. So I can continue being mean to him. Haha. Speaking of being mean to things, the Empty Child. I can't be mean to the Empty Child. Come on. One of the most iconic things in the reboot. Right. If you are not familiar with the name The Empty Child, you may be familiar with the phrase, "Are you my mummy?" This was... cake is in the oven, bowls are being licked. That's the right way to do it. The episode where Stephen Moffat proved he could write good Doctor Who before he went on to prove he also couldn't. This was his first outing. It was series 1 of the reboot. An episode set in the Second World War during the Blitz in London. So bombs going off everywhere, panic on the streets, etc. And there's this small child wandering around saying, "Are you my mummy?" wearing a gas mask. And anyone who comes into contact with him also gets a gas mask, by which I mean a gas mask grows out of their face. Real weird body horror for what was ostensibly a kids show, but people loved it, so... Are you my mummy? You're an adult, you can give yourself salmonella if you want to. No, our eggs are fine, don't worry about it. They actually have like ways of treating eggs before they go to sale now. I'm sure the Americans will get rid of that, but... the risk is way lower than it used to be. Anyway, so, basic story. The kids love body horror, exactly. What if? Genuinely traumatizing. It's one of those things that are scarier to adults. Yeah, it was, salmonella. Yeah, it was a very freaky sequence of the guy. The problem I have is that the person you see the transformation happening to is a famous comic actor in Britain. He's known for a character called Victor Meldrew, who's like grumpy old man incarnate. And so he's known for being very silly. He's a very silly actor in that. And so watching him just like body horror transform was very mixed feelings of like, this is scary and wow, this is also silly. But the Empty Child is just a child, died in the Blitz, but there was a crash. I'm spoiling the episode, if anyone cares. I'm spoiling all of these episodes, that's kind of the premise. Yeah, there was a bomb, came down, exploded, bang, bad stuff. But also, there also happened to be an alien capsule that fell and exploded. And on that alien capsule, there was a medical unit which... worked on... It also malfunctioned and sent lots of little nanobots around trying to be a medical unit, trying to help people, and found this small child and like, I can help you. I don't know what a human is, but I can help you. And so it fixed the child into what it thought a human should be, which is this ghoul walking around with a gas mask for a face. And every time it came across another human, the nanites were like, oh, hey, you're like this thing we found, but you're not. You don't have the gas mask, so we'll just fix that for you. And forcibly gave everybody a gas mask for a face. Which is a problem, because humans don't really need a gas mask for a face. They also don't have to say, are you my mummy? That whole story was because it was a... The child was looking for his mummy. who was also a young person who had given birth very young and was trying not to admit it, etc., etc. There was some good societal stuff in there. Happens to the best of us, yeah. And the story it's still one of my favourite endings to any Doctor Who. Because basically the Doctor goes, I know how to solve this. If we get the mother to admit that she's the mother in front of these nanobots, they'll go, oh, you are, an earlier biological example of what this thing should look like. We'll update our understanding of what a human is, and then fixes all the things, because that's what a human's supposed to be. They're not supposed to have a gas mask for a face. And as a consequence, the nanobots go around and cure everybody, and you get the wonderful thing of Christopher Eccleston jubilantly exclaiming, just this once, everybody lives. And that's still never been true of any other Doctor Who episode. It's so rare in an episode of Doctor Who for everyone to live. Also, this is a Christopher Eccleston appreciation area. He did fantastically. No pun intended. Very sad he left on bad terms with the producers and all that sort of stuff. Deserved a lot better. Everyone sort of got swept up in David Tennant afterwards, but if you go back and watch him, he was bloody brilliant. There has been renewed appreciation of him ever since all of the same people who did his series came back and made one of the worst eras of Doctor Who ever, and people are like, oh yeah, you were right, mate. But his point was not that they're making bad TV, his point was that they should apologise for treating their workers like crap and slandering him when he left. But let's not get into that. Good enough. Yeah, Kraken good. Solid, creepy, wonderful ending. Never got mentioned again, except in memes. Not everything needs to come back and be a recurring villain. Some things work best once. And that's a good one. That's a very good one. Everyone loves it for a reason. It's very good. Also, fun fact, there is a incidental reference in that episode to Doctor Who going to an arms factory. It's somewhere in space in the future and blowing it up so that they can grow bananas there instead. And they decided in the last series to actually go there and do an episode where the Doctor stands on a mine for the whole episode. What, Swen? There's a whole. This was like one of the first introductions of like the Doctor doesn't use guns, and this is the introduction of Captain Jack, and he's like, "Oh, I've got a weapon," and the Doctor's like, "I don't do weapons," and so he takes Jack's weapon and replaces it with a banana. And he's like, "I went to the place that weapon was made, and they grow bananas." It's a whole thing. Anyway, it's a Moffatism. We need a thing to draw. Let's get a thing to draw, shall we? Now that we've done the Empty Child, let's do the Minotaur from the God Complex. Speaking of episodes that I really, really like, let's draw a Minotaur. Wow. Never have I so succinctly spoiled an episode for you as to say there is a Minotaur in the episode of the God Complex. That's kind of the reveal at the end. The Doctor is silly. The Doctor's very silly. I like bananas. Bananas are good. I'm a Minotaur. Prior to Heaven Sent, the God Complex was my favourite episode of Doctor Who. Unlike Heaven Sent, it is not universally appreciated. But it's just like my kind of thing is very similar to ideas I've tried to write before. It's set in a creepy hotel, creepy space hotel, very Shining-esque. Doors contain fears. Rooms contain fears. In this weird hotel, people just get teleported there and there are fears there. And if you find your fear, you just sort of lose it and start praying to a weird creature that's going to come and kill you, which is the Minotaur. So what if the infinite space hotel with a Minotaur in it? You were just about to watch that episode. Can't believe it got spoiled. Throws remote across the room. Yeah, I really like this episode for some reason. I can definitely see why people don't. The Minotaur's kind of incidental. They try and do a thing at the end where it's like, I mean, it's the thing that the Minotaur feeds off fear, and once it's fed on the fear, all that's left is hope and praise, and so that's why they're sort of praying to this thing afterwards, because it's consumed their fear. It's an interesting idea. The execution is very goofy in a lot of ways. It has David Walliams in it, which is always a bad sign. But there's a character in there who's a nurse who's real smart and is cool and should have been a companion but wasn't. That's kind of the whole deal. And it's just like them trying to work out what's going on with this weird place that has like weird fears in it, and there's a room full of like ventriloquist puppets and one person's fear is just a room full of teenage girls making fun of him. It's a weird episode. But conceptually, I don't know, there's just something about the idea of an infinite hotel full of weird things that just really appeals to me. I used to have this idea that I worked into like 7 or 8 different formats. It was plays, TV shows, games, whatever. It was all sorts of things. But the idea was basically like, what if somebody set up a thing? This is a very Doctor Who episode kind of vibe. What if somebody set up a thing in the future where they could send through time portals where the last like door you pass through before you die, you get taken to this like hospice, essentially, this sort of place outside of time. You get teleported to this place to sort of live out your final moments before you go back through the door, knowing that that's the end of your life. And things go wrong, and it just becomes a weird jumble of rooms that people get trapped in. And so it was very similar to this episode. When I watched it, I was like, oh, that's like my idea. But they actually made it into a thing. I probably didn't explain that very well. Also, if I remember correctly, this Minotaur was buff. It was a real big, bulky Minotaur that I cannot do justice to. Basically a rectangle. Is there a reference to Hotel California? Because if not, what are we doing? Oh, there might be. I don't know. I don't remember. Probably. There's a whole scene where they meet all the other survivors at the check-in place.
As he should be.
As he should be. Let's do big shoulders. But yeah, you only really see the Minotaur at the end, which is, I don't know, I quite like when there's a mysterious villain and you only see them ride at the end. I think that's kind of cool. No, big teeth. No, I think it had big teeth, but I think they're in the mouth, like teeth tend to be. It doesn't really matter. The episode was just about a weird, creepy hotel, which does put me in a difficult position for this, of course, because this is a villain ranking. Just because I like the episode does not mean I like the villain. But yeah, they try and do a thing at the end of like connection between like this is the last of its kind and so is the Doctor, and sort of this is a bit not very good. Give it a ring, why not? Every Minotaur has a ring in its nose, that is the law. Minotaur go They check in and go, Toto, I don't think this is Hotel California anymore. Frankly, like, it's possible. The writer of that episode is known for doing silly things like that. They introduced... That's the other thing I should probably point out. Knowing Tumblr, that the Minotaur episode is probably really appreciated over there. I mean, maybe. I've never heard anyone mention it. But yeah, I can... Possibly. But the other thing to bear in mind is that this episode introduced a species who are like mole people. The one that's played by David Williams in this episode. And they're kind of fun because their whole deal is their planet kept getting invaded and conquered so many times that their culture is one of just immediate groveling, an immediate like surrender. So that's how they communicate, is basically by going, yep, you do it. Which is a sort of an interesting idea. It's a very comic idea. It's not a serious, like, you know, oh, let's examine the consequences of the colonialism and a country having to change its identity continuously through the past. It's just like, what if funny mole people go, I surrender a lot? I'm mainly pointing this out because there's another episode that this writer wrote, or a two-parter, called Before the Flood and Under the Lake. Other way around. Which also had a character who was from that race, and I don't remember why they did that. Because they didn't do anything. I think it was only Before the Flood that had that character, but anyway. It's a Minotaur. It's a big old Minotaur going me. Space Minotaur. They made like a whole animatronic face for it. Moved with the thing. I think they did anyway. And it's in one scene, basically, right at the end. Me. Put an extra picture of Tori. You and the Minotaur she tells you not to worry about. Maybe coming from a post-Minotaur milking farmer mindset. Sometimes sentences are just sequences of words, aren't they? Don't get me wrong, I know what you mean, but my brain is refusing. It's just a Minotaur. I guess Minotaur in a hotel corridors kind of cool, like a labyrinth, different. You couldn't really just replace it with anything. I mean, you sort of could, but it needed to be sort of not human-like. And it needed to be intimidating. Just because you slot in there nicely, you're gonna go in there. Why not? There you go. You stay there and you will never leave. Cool. Gonna say there's no way in hell you haven't ever even mentioned about Minotaur milking. It has been mentioned. I believe Miss has also mentioned it. I don't know why I thought of Miss specifically. Maybe I'm just thinking of Miss's reaction to hearing it. Either way. For now, we will instead think about milking Leandro. I mean, sure, honestly, we're not in a dissimilar area. I should specify Leandro is not the woman who lived. That's the name of the episode. Anthropomorphic bull meet anthropomorphic lion. Cats 2019. I'm gonna say better prosthetics than that. I think it's got like dreadlocks or something, like braids. I remember it being a cool design, which is a shame because this episode is kind of pointless. Yay! Trick question, Cast 2019 didn't use prosthetics. True. But they did in Doctor Who, so. Doctor Who has a history of cat people and making them look quite good. So, you know, from New Earth to The Woman Who Lived, all the way back to Warrior's Gate, I think they're on the list somewhere. They didn't look too good, but they look more like Cats 20, the Cats the Stage musical than Cats 2019. So it's just, you know, just depends on the vibe you're going for. No, lions have like the big boob. I for some reason the vibe I got from this character is that they do wear armor. What a diva. The cat nurse. They will come up as well. The Sisters of Plenitude or whatever they're called. Sounds like I got a good memory, but it's only because I wrote the list a few weeks ago. Went through the villains wiki. So, Leona? What was her name? Leandro. This is from an episode not about Leandro, which is a shame. So this was like a follow-up to another episode about a girl that the Doctor accidentally made immortal, and who is now dealing with the fact that she's immortal. It was sort of like feudal... well, it was a society who believed in Norse mythology, so that gives you the kind of vibe, the era, and place and time. Because an alien race was pretending to be Odin, the whole thing. And yeah, the Doctor accidentally, over the course of trying to save these people, made this girl immortal. Sort of accidentally, sort of not accidentally. Deliberately, but now has to deal with the consequences. And then he meets her again in Britain in the 17th century as a highwayman. At this point, she's forgotten her original name, which was a Shielder. She just refers to herself as me. Which is such a Moffat thing. It's kind of about her trying to navigate the world as an immortal person where everybody that she ever knew or loved dies. And the Doctor's like, yeah, sorry about that. Kind of cursed you to that, didn't I? But meanwhile, there's a B plot about this guy. Come up with a name for yourself. Exactly, you could just sort of, you know, have a different name per century. Have fun. But there's a B plot about this guy, who is an alien lion person, who got stuck, or who claims to have gotten stuck on Earth and needs to open a portal back to their planet. But in order to do that, the portal needs to be charged with life energy. So what they need to do is they need to either kill someone or just find someone who's going to die. And this is the era of highwaymen, so someone's probably going to get discovered and then hanged. So they just go and attend a hanging of a highwayman played by Rufus Hound. And yeah, they're just as the guy is about to get killed, is like, brilliant, life energy, open the portal. Haha, I tricked you. I wasn't trying to get back to my home planet. There's an invasion happening now. Come on, everybody. And then a bunch of lion people invade. Which would sound surprising if we knew anything about this character. Because again, this is more of a B plot really in this episode. I'm gonna give you lots of hair. And then the Doctor solves that by going, oh yeah, I had another one of those immortality things, so I'm just gonna bring this guy back to life. So your portal doesn't work anymore because you don't have his life energy, it's back. It's like, oh no, my portal! It's not a good episode. This is giving Heimdall's persona. I can believe that. Oh, Survival, the last episode of the classic era. That had cat people. Cheetah people, specifically. Lots of cat people in Doctor Who. Yeah, it's probably like. Again, I have not looked at this character since the episode, so I'm probably not accurate with any of this, but I'm just having fun at this point. It's fun every now and then to draw a furry. And call it work. There's a streamer I follow who recently was like, hey, I'm introducing my persona character into my emotes and stuff. And this is cool like Tiger. And everyone's like, oh my god, what's their name? What's their backstory? Do they have like a story and character and all that sort of stuff? He's like, oh, it's just a cool tiger. And I just really admire that attitude. Yeah, it's just a cool tiger, I like it. As somebody who has way too much going on with characters. Going, I wanted a tiger. Does it need to be any more than that? No. Wish you could reconnect with that mindset. Yeah, it'd be nice. So yeah, this was a weird episode. This was one of the episodes. Okay, two things you need to know about this episode. Firstly, this episode was written by. Oh, I thought I could remember his name, and now I can't. Jamie Matheson. That's my guess. Jamie Matheson. Yes, Jamie Matheson. And the reason I bring this up is because he wrote in the previous series, Series 8, he wrote the two best episodes of that series, Mummy on the Orient Express and Flatline. So I was very excited to see what he would do in this series, and he wrote this one, which was not good. He then went on to write Oxygen, which was very good, but the other thing you need to know is that this episode was co-written with Stephen Moffat. And that is a sign, if you are not familiar with how Doctor Who writing works, that is a sign that a writer submitted a script and there were so many problems with it that the producer had to step in and go, we need to fix this. And I'm fixing it so much my name has to go on. So, you know. I don't know what the original plan was, but stuff happened. Ooh, baby Oobs drones. There's still a vibe there, you know, there is still an Oobs vibe in that. I get the Oobs vibe. So anyway, if you want to be, you know, a bit unfair, a little bit, you know, a little bit mean, you could say that Stephen Moffat ruined this episode. And that it would have been amazing if Jamie Matheson had done it the way he wanted to. I have no proof of this, but I won't stop you. Always love women, that's for sure. Yeah. No. So, that guy. He's largely incidental to the episode. Honestly, the episode would have been better if he actually just needed to get home. And he didn't turn out to be a villain. And the doctor had to have like a quandary of like, should I let this person die so that this person could go back to their planet, or should I save this person from dying and then this person's stranded forever? Blah 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 blah. You know, there could have been something there, and I feel like I know exactly where you're going now. There could have been something there. You've got a cool design. There could have been something, but they didn't do it. You go and beat it. How many times am I going to say this about an episode of Doctor Who? So many times. Anyway, thank you, Leandra. Shouldn't be mean over things you can't prove. It's uncouth. It's definitely a theme, yeah. And this is why I think the Doctor Who RPG is such a cool idea, because it's like, if that's the bar, just a cool idea that didn't really pan out. It's pretty good. That's all your ideas, baby. That's not true. But yee. Speaking of ideas that did not pan out. Okay, that one did pan out, to be fair. That one panned out a little too well. Do I need to introduce this one? We've already talked about this episode. Just think, in an alternate universe, this episode didn't exist because Stephen Moffat wrote a Dalek story about Daleks turning people into pigs. Having a little peek. Should have been one episode, absolutely. There is no reason to bring these back at all. But we'll get to that. So for the sake of completeness, I've explained all the other ones. Yeah, mentioned in this episode, never again. Fun fact, Heaven Sent, my favourite episode of Doctor Who ever, was originally a Weeping Angels episode. And then, sensibly, they got cut out. Which is proof that you should, again, not use these things. So the Weeping Angels, they are statue-like creatures, which are completely motionless all the time you're looking at them. All the time something's looking at them, which does beg the question on what something counts as. This is just a little lizard staring at it. Is that good enough? I don't know. They don't have halos, do they? Well, I don't really know what they look like. But they're just statues. They're like grey stone statues. They have wings. Yellow wings. And they are weeping, covering their faces. Because obviously if they look at each other, they also freeze. So they've got to cover their face. Ooh, this one's looking at you. Ooh, evil intent. But yeah, the idea is as soon as you turn away from them, they will chase you and they will snap your neck. No, they will touch you, and in touching you, teleport you back in time, thereby feeding on the time energy removed from you. Because you are now no longer forward in time. That doesn't really make sense, but it's Stephen Moffat, so what are you expecting? But yeah, so the idea is they don't kill you, they just sort of time you to death. They just sort of remove the things you could have done and eat that. I do like a villain that sort of has a strangely metaphysical system going on. You know, like I exist on like the Minotaur. It feeds on fear. That's literally its energy, its food source. Complicated way to say they eat you. You still exist, you just teleport back into the past. And that's how Amy and Rory got stuck in Manhattan in the 1950s. Or New York. They got teleported back into the past by an angel. That was a really stupid episode because the freaking Statue of Liberty is apparently one of these things. So stupid. Anyway, again, one episode. Should have been one. Your past, the past. Usually, I think, yeah, in the first episode, the first person who gets teleported back in time gets teleported back to the 50s again, and they're like 30 in the present day, so it's just the past. Yeah, they eat your time energy because you accrue that as you go along, even if you weren't born. Random person gets stuck with Unknown Greg. Unknown Greg could have been Amy and Rory's friend. We have no proof that they were not. Robes and stuff. They got like hair, sort of. I don't know how to draw a statue. You draw a statue. But yeah, as a concept, you know, as soon as you look away or blink, they're coming after you. Massive hand I've drawn. Yeah, as soon as you blink, they'll come after you. So don't blink. That's the horror. That's the. It's gonna smile. Up to mischief. I'm gonna send you back to the 70s. Which is funnily enough actually now era appropriate. If it was the 50s 20 years ago, it would be the 70s now, wouldn't it? Rory divorced Amy and got with Unknown Greg in 1950s Manhattan. I wonder if there is a fan fiction about that. There could be. There could be. But yeah, a classic idea for a spooky episode. A spooky monster. Don't blink. You have to keep staring at it. As soon as you blink, it's after you. Good, simple premise. There's some fun time shenanigans with, like... This is the episode that doesn't have the Doctor in it much, so they just had a bit where they, like, pre-recorded a scene with David Tennant, and that's, like, put on a DVD in universe, but they have a conversation with it, because time shenanigans. Again, very Moffat. But again, fun. That was also an idea that I had ages ago. It was more of a Victorian thing, somebody having a conversation with a gramophone. Don't remember your reaction to Statue of Liberty, Weeping Angel, but it wasn't appreciative, you can say that for sure. For me, it was very much like, oh, come on. Swoopy hair. But yeah, they're just it's a good one-off spook. A good one-off spook that should have remained a one-off spook. We will now talk about the times they brought it back. So the first time they brought it back, there was like hundreds of them in a cave for some reason, and that's when they tried to introduce the idea that an image of a weeping angel is a weeping angel. If you don't know what that means, join the club. But the kind of idea, again, they're sort of getting metaphysical with things, but the idea being that if you make like a video of a weeping angel, that also is classified as a weeping angel. I don't know in what respect it is. Also, if you look at a weeping angel for long enough, it can like get in you in some way. I don't remember really the premise of this. It's very The Ring. Yeah, they tried to do The Ring, but with the Weeping Angels. So it was, I guess, an attempt to counteract the obvious thing of just keep looking at it, or like just keep alternating which eye you're closing. They were like, well, how can we get past that? Okay, well, if you look at it too long, it infects your head. It's now after you, Ring style. Eyes are the windows to the soul. Exactly. Fun fact, this was the episode that Rory ceased to exist. For the first time. But yeah, it's that was a thing. I don't think it was really ever brought up again, because why would you? But then they had the episode where the Weeping Angels essentially had a farm in America where they would just keep sending people back to the 1950s and keeping them there. And just like as soon as they got back to the present day, boom, back to the 1950s. Yum yum, more food. So they just had this cycle of people getting trapped in the 1950s, which is why the Statue of Liberty is a weeping angel. Whatever. And that's like almost an idea. The idea of them actually kind of organizing themselves into a way of like, okay, well, how can we feed on these humans more efficiently? But I don't know how a civilization that can't look at itself organizes. Like that was kind of the whole deal of the first episode, was they can't even see themselves, and that's how you get out of it, is you make them look at themselves and then they're stuck there forever. Classic, you know, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark ending? You know? But now that's not a thing. Now they can commune with one another. It's like the Silence. It's just have them for one episode. You don't need more than that. Why specifically the 1950s? It's a cool setting, isn't it? You just thought a legit farm. Kind of. Turns out America is a farm. It's deep, man. Do they get to choose? What, the people? Not really. Oh, do the angels get to choose when to send you? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe? Depends how hungry they are. Maybe that's it. They need a specific amount of energy, and however much energy that is, that's how far back you get sent. How big of a bite are you going to take? Do you think a weeping angel has ever sent somebody back to the dinosaurs and gone, oh god, I'm so full. I should not have eaten that much. Oh, I've got to walk this off. Oh no, there's a fly looking at me. I can't. So that's the kind of episode I want to see with these things. Pizza coma from sending somebody back to the Jurassic era, exactly. And they've come back a couple of times for like cameos and stuff. And there is an episode in the Chibnall era called The Village of the Angels or something like that. I have not watched that one. I'll get to it eventually. I don't have high hopes. But you know, it was a fun little spooky gothic horror kind of thing. Have you seen they've got a new Christmas Carol adaptation in the works where Johnny Depp is playing Ebenezer Scrooge? It's called Ebenezer because of course it is. And they're billing it as a gothic horror take on the Christmas classic. And I'm like, have you read the book? It's about ghosts haunting a guy and showing him how he dies. Like, anyway. Stop this. A lot of people are saying that as well. I was introduced to it by a tweet, not a tweet, a blue sky skeet, whatever you want to call it. A post from somebody. This was how I found out about it. This is from Alistair Beckett King. Where was it? Scrolling through all good art. Good art. Here it is. How will Johnny Depp get into character as a terrible man with a litany of evil deeds? That's how I found out about that film. Some people need to pick up a dictionary, like Christopher Nolan. Anyway. Time. Weeping Angels. I want to put them there. I want to put them there because that means they're on par with the Daleks. I.e., a really cool idea that should have stopped pretty, like, short of how many episodes they were actually in. It's a cracking episode. It's got timey-wimey shenanigans. It's got a cool horror premise. It's good stuff. Forget everything else. Please. Yeet. We're getting through the classics. We've had The Empty Child and The Weeping Angels. And The Silence. So that's pretty much all the good ones from the modern era. There are still a couple from the classic era. Including the Candyman. Everyone loves the Candyman. This isn't considered to be the worst at all. Candyman. With a K, that's a stripper name. I once again fear I may have drawn this too cute. But that's fine. The Candyman is here to make you happy. Make you so happy you die. That is the premise. It's a Super Mario character. So this looks got a Super Mario RPG vibe. So this is based on a famous... Okay, so in Britain, there is a famous confectionery assortment of licorice and sugary treats called Licorice All Sorts. There is a mascot made up of those Licorice All Sorts called Bertie something or other. Bertie Bassett? Bertie Bassett, there we are. This guy is just made of the bits. And for some reason in the 1980s, Doctor Who thought, what if a robot styled like this, made to look like it was made of candy, was evil and wanted to make people so happy they died? Like heart attacks. Happy. It doesn't make sense. Why is that so British looking? Because it is. So I'd like to point out, this is from the Happiness Patrol, I believe is the name of the episode. I have not seen this episode, and I know I said I wasn't including things from episodes I haven't seen, but come on. It's Blobby's friend, exactly. It's got that vibe. I don't know if it has claw hands, it just feels like it should. But yeah, this is from the series, I believe. This was from... I'd hope this was from the first series of the 7th Doctor. Hang on. If it's not, my god. Season 24? Please say this was season 24. Oh god, it wasn't. Gotta be 25 then. This was friggin' the second story in season 25. This came after Remembrance of the Daleks. Remembrance of the Daleks is like one of the best episodes of the 1980s, and then this thing comes along immediately afterwards. What the hell are you talking about? Sorry, I didn't know that. I've just learned that. Cake? Careful you don't fall into the cake and die of cake-related happiness. So, okay, the general consensus is that season 24 of Doctor Who is one of the worst. It just has terrible episodes like Paradise Towers and things like that. But then the next two series actually picked up a bit and got a lot better, including Remembrance of the Daleks. That's the general consensus I've heard. Knowing that this thing is in series 25, I'm doubting that simplified narrative now. It's also got like... It's covered in some sort of white liquid for some reason. Does not help stripper allegations. Doctor Who has always had big ups and downs, and even bigger downs, you see. Oh yes. 1980s Who was a time. There's an argument to be made that the Russell T Davies 2 era might have been worse, but it's close. Can't be too consistently good, it creates expectation, yeah. And you can't, like, achieve greatness, because then where do you go from there? So Doctor Who has consistently not done that. I'm allowed to be mean about things I like. It's fair. Meanness is only bad when it's something you don't like. That's the rules. Them's the rules. There may also have been like a thing going on where this thing turns people into sweets and then gives those sweets to people, so that there's like a cannibal thing going on. I don't really know. That's just popped into my mind. Can't imagine I made that up. Beep boop. Am the Candyman. Can't say that after everything you said about Odyssey? Can't remember what I said. Does that help? Oh, that you can only be mean about things you like. Oh, I see. No, I didn't say you could only be mean about things you like. I said it's only fair to be mean about things you like. You can be as unfair as you want about things you don't like. Why would you want to be fair about things you don't like? You don't like them, screw them. Right. Candyman. Dreadful, terrible, stupid. Kinda love it. I'm not gonna, just can't put you above C, but I'm gonna put you like in a high D, because I'm glad you exist. You shouldn't, but since you're here, I'm pleased. Good for you. You're more memorable and interesting than earnest attempts at making something good and interesting. Why do you like one thing in one piece of media and not in another piece of media? Because you said so. Glad for listening. Glad for listening. Thank you for listening. Well, that's also context. Context is very important. Context, execution, you know, even something as simple as like a line. You know, how many different meanings can a line have depending on the context it's given? Like, why should anything more complicated than a line be expected to be more consistent? But yeah, you can like a thing that's done in one thing and then it's done in another thing and you not like it, because there's too many other factors going on to be that simple about these things. The universe is complicated, the human brain is simple, it wants to try and explain it in simplified terms and it can't. If you try and make it consistent, you will become a hypocrite. So let's draw a thing before we become hypocrites. Let's draw the Sim Master. We're talking about the master. Of all the masters who would likely skateboard on the Rosetta Stone and kiss Queen Victoria, Sim's up there. Now, do I draw early Sim or late Sim? Or skeleton Sim? Spoilers. Doing a little thing in the head. From skateboarding. Yeah, it's worth bearing in mind that this master has like an entire in-universe dance sequence to a song by the Scissor Sisters. Having taken over the world. Just dances along to the Scissor Sisters for fun. Is this Moriarty but not Irish? That one. Another British man yelling. Yes. You're correct. I'm not really a fan. Again, this was the one that I think Moffat somehow managed to write better because he wasn't shouting. He wasn't jumping around shouting. Sacrilege, I know, but I don't like my masters to be the Joker. I like them to be the master. So now I have to know how to draw John Sim. He looks like a guy. A very rare win for Moffat in character writing. He's not strong with character, but in this case, I would argue that Russell T Davies was weaker, rather than him being strong. Also, Missy was there, so that helps. That whole episode was like mostly about Missy for me. And her like arc. I don't want to get into that, it's sad. Legitimately, actually, you know, the very last thing Moffat wrote for Doctor Who, and he actually managed to write a character arc after 5 series. 6 series, sorry. And it was good. Painful. Anyway. So, what does Jonathan Sim look like? He's got a very sort of boring hairline. Well, I'm gonna do the face. This is the face I associate with him. Because there's that one sequence where it's like, no, Mad is like this. This does not look anything like him, but I'm going with it. It adds to the expression, yeah. What the hell does John Sim look like? I don't know. I know what he looks like. He's round. I was gonna do a thing this year, and I might still do it, where I was gonna illustrate the first Poirot book, and so I was going through it looking for descriptions of all the characters, and basically the only physical description we get of Poirot is that his head is exactly the same shape as an egg. And you look at John Sim and tell me he wouldn't make a good Poirot. This is the worst John Sim you've ever did see. Your mum met you when you were like 12, yeah. The problem is he just looks like a guy. That's kind of his deal. Was that he just looked like a guy so he could get away with just being a human on Earth for a while and become Prime Minister of Britain. Which, I mean, frankly, given our options at the moment, why not? It's the least John Sim ever. Your head is very egg-shaped. Wow, rude. I thought you were just talking about this expression. In fact, I don't think it's pursed lips. I think it's like... Anyway, my apologies to famous Life on Mars actor John Sim. This is not a very good likeness. But to be fair, at some point I gave up making a good likeness and just wanted to draw a funny face. So here you go. Here's Harold Saxon, the Jonathan Sim Master. He is the first incarnation of the Master I would describe as, what if we just made the Master the Joker? And I don't like it. There was some touching stuff with, like, trying... I think this is when they introduced the idea that the Master and the Doctor were, like, childhood friends. Don't think that was a thing prior to the modern era. He had darker hair earlier, then he got bleached. Do you know what I just remembered? I just remembered how he came back. Let's talk about that. So he died at the end of the Sound of Drums. The Harold Saxon one. But, like, he was wearing a ring, and that ring got picked up and taken away. So everyone was like, oh, he's probably in the ring somehow. His consciousness is in there or whatever. Cake! Oh, cake! Eat cake! Nom 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 nom. So yeah, this ring got carried away and taken by the person who was his wife while he was pretending to be human, who had been, like, brainwashed into being his wife or whatever. But so the ring was taken away. No, it was taken away by someone else, I think. He was wearing it, she was wearing it, I can't remember. But in order to bring him back, what happened was a cult of people who worshipped him, post all of this stuff happening in the previous episode, kidnapped this woman, who is now no longer brainwashed and does not want to be part of this, kidnapped this woman into attending a ritual in which they were going to resurrect the ghost of Harold Saxon from this ring, and they knew that in order to do that, they needed her to kiss the ring or something like that. I can't remember the exact specifics of it. And so they forced her to do that, and the ghost of Harold Saxon came out and being like, I'm alive, like that. And then she was like, actually, I'm an anti-cult resistance member, and I did this deliberately so that I could throw this bomb at you. And then she blows up the building they're all in. This was like a 2-minute introduction to the episode. Which is a terrible plan, because if you don't want to be part of that cult, then you want to just blow it up. Why didn't you just blow it up before you kissed the ring? Just blow it up. Or just don't kiss the ring. Or don't get involved at all. If you're part of an anti-thing of this cult, just go somewhere else. Whatever, anyway. It's just the wildest non-Doctor Who thing ever. Complete nonsense. What are the Master's goal in general? Are they just here to be funny or cause chaos? Again, it depends on the incarnation. So the original one, Mr. Delgado over here, wants power, wants to dominate. He's the Master. He wants to be in control. Hence the name. This was then substituted with, well, there was the Crispy Master, who wanted to kill the Doctor. Then there was... no relation. Then there was the Ainley Master, who was... I don't normally agree with Tumblr's takes on Doctor Who in a lot of instances, but the description of on-again, off-again, toxic yaoi husband of the Doctor works really well for Ainley's Master. Just really obsessed with the Doctor for no particular reason. Pantomime, like literally the Rani points this out. The Rani's like, I don't want to get involved in whatever the two of you have got going on. I'm just going to do my thing. You're obsessed with him, that's fine. Leave me alone. Which is great. So it's acknowledged in universe that Ainley Master is just a bit too obsessed with the Doctor. It's a good dynamic. We have not drawn Ainley Master yet, but we'll get to it. Then you have Sim Master, who I guess also wants to take over the world? That's what he does. He takes over the world. So again, wants power and youth and vigor, hence the younger form. Then Missy. Missy is much more... She has an arc. She starts off wanting to just kind of cause havoc, but her intention to cause havoc is to get the Doctor to see that the two of them are more similar than he would care to admit. And then over the course of the next couple of series, the Doctor tries to do that with her. And so she starts to see that she's more like the Doctor than she would care to admit, and actually there's good in her and there's evil in him, and there's some stuff going on there, and then it all blows up in her face. So she's got a complicated thing going on, which again, for Moffat, I mean, Moffat and complicated aren't enemies of words, but in terms of character development, surprising. And then you have Sacha Dhawan's master, who wants to just scream and destroy everything. He loves shouting. What if he destroyed everything? What if I killed all the people, everyone, ever? Blah. That's Sacha Dhawan's master. So it depends on the incarnation. We're not so different, you and I, exactly. It's such a complex character. Okay, but it's done well. It's done surprisingly well for Doctor Who. Anyway, there's Sim Master skating on the Rosetta Stone. 3-year-old energy. Oh, Dhawan's master definitely has that. Angry toddler. I don't really like the Sim Master, I'll be honest. I can't really take into account the version in The Doctor Falls, because it's one episode and he's mostly just there as a foil for Missy, so love him skating on the Rosetta Stone while making that expression. He's not the worst, I just don't really like him very much. If he was another character, if he wasn't the Master, I'd be fine. It's just the personality is so different from the Master I like. I like the Master to feel masterly, in control, reserved somewhat. Maybe, obviously insane, but not the Joker. Don't even remember him, that's how good he is, just very forgettable. I just do want to Google. His hair is longer than I remember. See what I'm going for? Anyway. His head's longer than I thought, and that's fine. That's me drawing anyone. Yeah, not terrible, but just not an incarnation I care for. If it were a different character, I'd probably like it more. I'm bringing my own bias to this, I understand. But it's a tier list, I'm allowed to. Speaking of tiers, oh, so sad this one. I remember when Arcturus from the Curse of Peladon happened. The episode I literally described as massively overrated half an hour ago. Okay. I cry every Tim when Arcturus was moided. But it turns out not moided. Because conspiracy. So Curse of Peladon is a weird one. This is a very odd episode. The third Doctor. Series... Third series, I want to say? The third Doctor? Fourth, maybe. He got better, it's fine, yeah. The idea of the episode's kind of cool. The Doctor stumbles upon a intergalactic meeting of representatives from a variety of galaxies, all coming together to get to some sort of like political or trade agreement. And someone's murdered. And the Doctor's like, well, let's solve this. Oh, whoops. I told everybody I was here representing the Earth, and they've just found out I'm not. That makes me pretty darn suspicious. And so the Doctor has to sort of investigate this while everyone is now incredibly suspicious of who this person is who just stumbled in and lied. But there's a whole conspiracy going on, because it turns out the person who was murdered, this thing, I honestly can't remember what they looked like other than that they were made of, like, bubble wrap. Very Poirot, yeah. I'm going to assume there was an eye in there somewhere. This eye. It's always this eye, probably some tentacles. They're in a little dome. With a computer on the front, which was sabotaged, and that's how the killing happened. But it turns out, actually, this was all a plan, and this person was in on it, and it was a conspiracy to frame a different group of people. The Ice Warriors, maybe? Oh, it's been a while. In order to have them, like, justify a war against them. It's a surprisingly, like, convoluted political episode with a whodunit element to it, that is so badly executed. It is actually funny. And this was why I was surprised with this episode, because I found it hilarious, this episode. It's legitimately just so bad it's funny. And it apparently has really high standing with the fan base, that they think it's really good, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, if you ever want a controversial opinion from me about Doctor Who, apparently The Curse of Peladon, it's pretty crap. The idea is really sound and really cool, but boy, you fumbled it on the execution. Again, this was the one where, like, people talk for 20 minutes in a room about politics, walk out, have a cliffhanger, and then walk back in and continue their conversation. There's also a sequence in which a lengthy sequence in which a character, Jo Grant, the companion, or assistant as they were known at the time, she escapes from the cell by climbing out of a vent, and there's this lengthy sequence of her trying to avoid guards and so on and so forth, the consequence of which is she's caught and put back in the cell. Nothing else happens. It's 10 minutes. Literally nothing happens. Also, I think the episode ends with the Doctor in, like, a fighting pit, hand-to-hand combat with someone for reasons that have never been adequately explained to me, but it is also shot in slow motion, so it's funny. It's got, like, rope nets around, like a gymnasium. Is this also the one where there's, like, a beast and the Doctor hypnotizes it with a lullaby? It's like a monster, and it turns out not to be a monster, but it's used as a monster for plot reasons. Plot as in, like, political plot. But the Doctor's like, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll just sing a lullaby and it'll fall asleep. And he does. Remember trying to watch classic Doctor Who, had real trouble adjusting to the different pacing. Not boring per se, but it's slow paced. Absolutely, it is very slow paced. If you want an example of this, if you want to see how slow paced Doctor Who can truly be, I recommend the episode Ambassadors of Death. There is, and I kid you not, a 20-minute sequence of people loading something onto the back of a lorry and driving it through the British countryside, all set to, like, lounge jazz? Nothing else happens. At the end of that sequence, like, people raid the thing and try and get the thing off the lorry and whatever, but, like, it's so long. Isn't that an entire episode? Pretty much. I mean, back then the episodes were quite short, and each story had like 5 episodes. Or like 6 to 12. Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, beep, beep. Arcturus, you didn't look like this, but you do now. I'm I'm probably exaggerating about 20 minutes. It might have been 10, but it's so long. I watched a compilation. Somebody made a compilation on YouTube of the longest periods in an episode of Doctor Who without dialogue, and that was, I think, number 3. So there are longer. But, like, there's usually a reason for them, like people are trying to escape somebody without making noise or whatever. That one was just, they had a lot of footage. Tempting to retrain your tolerance for slower pacing, so maybe you should use that as exposure therapy. I quite like the Ambassadors of Death. It's a very weird episode, because you wouldn't be able to make a classic episode like it, because there isn't really a monster. There kind of is, but not really. And it's more about people and, like, groups of people fighting against each other, and there's the military, but there's also, like, organized crime. It's interesting. Also, that's an episode where the Doctor can just sort of, like, teleport things away with his hands. And it's never brought up again. That's from the same series as Doctor Who and the Silurians. And, I believe, Spearhead from Space, the Autons. First Auton episode. Is that from that one? I think so. And the other episode is Inferno, which is a fan favourite, although not mine. Where'd you put Arcturus? I don't care. You go there. Be friends with Greg. You have a similar eye, you can talk about that for a bit. Yeah, I do recommend Classic Who. I like Classic Who. It's, I would say, I haven't watched a lot of Black and White Who. Apparently it's very good. Those of it, the episodes that exist are good. But obviously it's slow. And then in 1970 they became colour with the Third Doctor. The Third and Fourth Doctor, generally speaking, had very solid runs of episodes. So anything in there is pretty safe. So pretty much anything in the 70s, definitely early 70s, mid 70s. It was late 70s, early 80s, that kind of stuff. That's when it starts getting dodgy. So if you want to enjoy Classic Who, Third and Fourth Doctor's pretty safe bet. You tried from the very first episode, which might have been your mistake. Yeah, probably if you're trying to wean yourself into it, start a bit late. It'll be very slow back then. I have not watched the first episode. I should do, really. It's the only first episode for a Doctor that I haven't seen. I've seen all the others. Okay, let's do one last. Because for all I prat around with Doctor Who, I do legitimately enjoy it. I feel like the modern series has more low lows, but also more high highs, and the classic era has some decently consistent stuff, some good stuff, and only really towards the end does it start getting a bit iffy. You know, there are boring episodes, don't get me wrong, but rarely bad. Speaking of rarely bad, the Beast from the Satan Pit. Let's draw the Beast. Satan Pit, Satan Pit. What was it we said earlier about, like, subtleties for losers? What if we just had the devil? Is that the episode with the cat nurses? No. This is the episode with the Ood. The first episode with the Ood, I should say. This is the episode set on a rock orbiting a black hole, which should be impossible. Which is why the first episode is called The Impossible Planet. And inside they find a pit, which is why the second episode is called The Satan Pit. I think it probably has a nose. Does it have a nose? Might have like a kind of... Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm thinking about it. It's kind of skeletal, almost. in my head. The devil? Svento? Here's the doctor for scale. Hi. There's the hair. So yeah, the doctor goes into this pit on an asteroid that's floating around a black hole, and it turns out there's a big old monster in there. And by looking at a pot? Question mark? The doctor manages to work out that this is an extremely old monster. So old and so powerful that it has influenced every civilization in the universe's concept of Satan. Because they've all got something like that, apparently. And it's this thing. It's jitters, only massive and a devil. Primordial Satan, exactly. And the reason it's in this black hole thing is because that's the only way you can really sort of keep it around without killing it. Because who knows what's going to happen if you kill Satan. Just lock it in an orbit with a black hole. It can't do anything. Tries to break out, it'll fall into the black hole. Why is everything biblical? Russell T. Davies. Oh, my stylus is struggling now. I don't know if you can see it. Just occasionally, well, you wouldn't be able to see it because you don't know what my stylus is doing. You can only see the cursor. I'm shaking. And its whole deal is it's sort of locked up, but it can telepathically control. It can send telepathic messages and control certain things with telepathy, but only things that are easily controlled. And the Ood, who we have met before, wherever they are, there they are. These cute little guys, kawaii Ood. They're holding their brains in their hands, so they're quite easy to telepathically influence. So this thing just sort of takes them over temporarily, while it's stuck in the pit. And the doctor goes, well, I'm not having any of that, and then just breaks the thing seal and throws it into a black hole. You know, who knows why they decided to lock it up instead of throwing it into the black hole, but the doctors consider that unimportant. And it also just kind of snarls and goes in big bad CG. So, well, why did they not do that before? So that there would be an episode. It was probably another version of the Doctor that did it, to be fair. It sounds like the sort of thing the Doctor would do. You know, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm not evil, I don't kill people, I'm morally good, I'm gonna lock you here for eternity instead, where you can't do anything and just burn forever. Because I'm the good guy. If you can steal something near a black hole, you can just toss it in the black hole. In fact, the amount of work you'd have to put in to make it like orbit properly. There must have been a concerted effort to trap it near a black hole. Like, this was a deliberate thing. This is an exception to you saying the special effects in the series are good. This looked pretty rough. Yes, this was series 2. Still working on a shoestring budget. Some of the early CG is not great. I'm thinking about the wheelie bin. I mean, again, given what they had, you know, hats off to them, but this wasn't great. We're allowed to try and fail in this house. It's part of the process. But anyway, basically Satan. But also not really. Because I don't know. Call me film pilled, but like my version of Satan is wearing like a cool suit and is like holding a deck of cards or something, or flipping a coin and has a cool goatee. Basically, an evil version of a scummy, a slightly greasy street magician. That's my Satan, not this. Satan is this guy, but this guy is not Satan. Is not Satan. Exactly. It's called the Satan Pit. But yeah, it's just a big monster that's really scary, and people were like, "Oh God, this is a horrible thing. We're going to base our religions on it." Throughout the universe. I'm editing a highlights for Sherlock Holmes and the Awakened at the moment, and there's a point at which Sherlock Holmes asks somebody, yes, you were an expert on ancient people. Please tell me. And we have fun pointing out how not all ancient people had the same, like, culture and did the same things or the same language or lived in the same part of the world. Ancient people is not a group of people. Yeah, this episode doesn't care about that. These classic experts on ancient people. All of them. Also, my favorite thing about this setup that happens with this guy is like this guy's in a pit. This big, massive monster's in a pit, surrounded by fire, and just in front of them is this like little platform you can stand on, and that platform has two plinths, two rickety-looking plinths on top of which are vases. And if you break a vase, that's it. It falls into the black hole. And you're like, has there never been like a bump? This is an asteroid. Has like another asteroid not bumped into it? And one of the vases fallen off the rickety plinth? I guess not, because it's still there, but that sounds like a really bad, like, real bad system. Death by Rube Goldberg. Oh, that's just, the Final Destination film, isn't it? Yeah. So, not Satan. Right. Probably the least interesting part of the episode. Again, how many times have I said that? It could have been anything. It could have literally been anything in that bit that was just telepathic. There was really nothing leading up to it to say that it would have been Satan. Like an ancient telepathic evil was all you needed. It could have been Greg, who got trapped in there by the other Daleks. They didn't like him, so they stuck him near a black hole. Could have been Greg. Didn't have to be Satan, so you have to go into at least the you could have been replaced by anything tier. I don't hate it. Do I? I mean, it's a waste, isn't it? The idea of there being, like, a beast so influential and fearful and powerful that just, like, civilizations throughout the galaxy associate it with evil. It's just a massive waste to use it in that episode. Like, you could do something with that. But no, he's just sort of there, just going rah, 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 and then he falls into a black hole. Screw it, you're going in F. You're going in the black hole. I don't care, I've talked myself into it. You go in the pit. Can you detract it points from your ranking based on the fact that it's biblical for no reason? I can't put it further down than I have. Into the pit! Yeah, it's biblical for no reason. To be fair, it's not explicitly biblical. It's this idea of like every culture will have something like this in it, but also like how many cultures on Earth have something like that in it? It's basically Christianity. So I guess you got a point. Into the pit with ye. It was called the Satan pit, yeah. But that's because you're advertising it mainly to an audience who would know what Satan is. But that's never stopped people doing more complicated things on Doctor Who in the past. You don't have to do Satan. This was Series 2 of the reboot. They were already on these ideas in Series 2. I think a devil figure is pretty Christian specific. Okay. Fair. On Earth, at least. Also, it does imply that at some point this thing went to Earth. In the last couple of thousand years. Might be wrong about that. You're not a theologist. I was going to make a joke about confusing theologist and theodolite, but I can't remember what theodolite means. So let's look it up. A theodolite is a precision optical instrument for measuring angles between visible points in the horizontal and vertical planes. It was used for mapping, still used for mapping. Back to the Satan pit with ye. Went to Earth, chilled for a while, had a drink with Jesus, left, back to the Satan pit. Yeah. Well, there we go, we've done Satan now. Bottom of the list. I feel bad putting Satan below the Jagrafest, but again, like, it's not Satan, and it's just a waste. The Ood are the best bit of that episode. And they're there. They're doing fine. They're the real creepy things. And they turn out to be nice. They're just easily influenced. Good old Ood. Good. The Kawaii Ood are great. So yeah, today, let's just do a quick go over what we did today. We had the Empty Child right at the top, I think for good enough reason. We have the definite Silurian. That's what the Silurians look like, you can't convince me otherwise. The Weeping Angels, who are only as low as they are because they should have been in one episode and left well alone. Why does the Ood have moe eyes? Because they're friendly, look. They're here to bring you tea. Would you like some tea? We have the Toclophane, who are basically just the humans, but future and bloodlust full. We have... I still don't remember your name, sir, but I kind of got attached to you as I was drawing you, so... So you go in C, you go in B, I guess. We got the Peg Dolls, which were kind of creepy, but in service of a not very good episode. We had the Minotaur from what I remember to be a good episode, but probably actually doesn't hold up in retrospect, but I liked it anyway. The Candyman, who is as high as he is because he's so crap. Leandra? That sounds about right, thank you, yes. We had the Whispermen, who were legitimately kind of unsettling in the way they look and move and sound and can just grab your heart. But also, like, they don't do anything, so... Oh, I haven't even bothered with fake sim here to clear this out. We have Jonathan Sims Master, who is just a bit too much like the Joker for my personal tastes, but, you know, still entertaining. We have the Time Beetle, who will eat your time, kind of like the Weeping Angels, but not. Just sort of send you back into a different reality to change what the time you would have had, kind of. They're just a beetle, they're just hanging out. Between streams, you should draw a little master skating on the Rosetta Stone behind every master. Every master who would do that, which to be fair, I can't think of one that wouldn't. I don't think Crispy Master would. Also, I haven't mentioned the Movie Master. I've not watched the movie myself. But the Movie Master would definitely do both of those things. And let me show you the Movie Master. me show you a good picture of the movie. None of these are the Movie Master. Come on. Okay, so image 1 of the Movie Master. Here. Now, you may have a vibe from this, you may have a feeling of what this character's like, but here is also the Movie Master. And I want you to bear that in mind. What does he look like? He's on a PlayStation in the first one. Because Bloom. This master is theatrical. Darling. First looks straight out of 90s Dracula. It's got that vibe. It's also based on the sort of the weird robes of the Time Lords. I won't bother showing you that. Did I put the Time Lords on this list? They should probably be a villain. But yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's again, I've only seen clips, I haven't seen the film fully, but you could just tell the actor was having a great time. And I've heard like audio dramas with that guy as the master, and they did do an audio drama. Hang on, let me just Big Finish. If anyone's interested, they do loads of audio dramas of Doctor Who. There are way more than there are TV show episodes. Is it Masterful? Yes. There was a Big Finish audio drama called Masterful, where every character was the master. All master. Didn't have Delgado. Delgado's not there. I mean, he was dead. Then reasonable. But they didn't try to have a Delgado. Which seems fair. Oops, all master. Anyway, sorry, I was going down the list, wasn't I? Johnson, Master, Grumpy Beetle. We have Dalek Greg, who's just having a real bad day, frankly, and probably deserves a bit better. You have Arcturus, who tried to do a cool murder mystery plot assassination thing and just didn't work out for him. You got the Collector, who's there to steal your taxes and go numbers, and Satan, who isn't Satan. Boom, that's our new list. Or things added to the list. They'd all skate on the Rosetta Stone. I mean, I'm looking at them. I think only one of these in this image would not skate on the Rosetta Stone, and funnily enough, that's the youngest one. I don't know much about that version of the character, but I feel like probably would think that's a bit silly. Still got a bit of decorum in them. Have not yet gone, now let's have fun. Eric Roberts has been in the 90s series about the Odyssey. The Master's in the Odyssey? Ooh. Why is there one picture of Eric Roberts as the Master from the movie? Show him being camp. Boo. Look at this theatrical. Honestly. Master is in the Odyssey surfing away on the Cyclops. Surfing on the Horse of Troy. Always confused as to why they called it a Trojan horse. It's Greek, wasn't it? Or, well, not Greek, but you know what I mean. But yeah, there we go. There we have more More Doctor Who things added. Yeah, they received it. I guess if they received it as a gift, it does belong to them, but like the whole thing wasn't there. I don't know. You would assume they'd want to give it back after a while. They'd be like, actually, can we not have this, please? Anyway. Time for a kaswoosh. Away from Doctor Who. I don't think I explained why this stream was happening. Everyone's away or ill. And so, yeah. I took the opportunity to Doctor Who. Ahahaha. They received it as a gift, and then the Greeks said, nope, you accepted it, you keep it, so it's theirs forever. I just really wanted to tell you about Greg. I've forgotten his actual name now, it's just Greg. Sec, that's it. Dalek Sec. Oh, Greg. Oops, all Greg. But yeah, we'll get back to this intermittently as we go. My tablet was quite well behaved tonight, actually. There were a couple of times it was skipping lines, but not too bad. We'll see tomorrow. Clickety clack. Not Docky Who with friends. No. Boop. But Doodles with friends. Who knows how many friends there will be? I don't know. Oops, old Greg. Always been Greg. You did have cake. Cake. Gonna bring up Greg in the Doctor Who campaign and everyone's gonna be confused. Only my character will know, and it'll be completely inexplicable as to how they know. Not gonna win any beauty contest, but it tastes like cakes, which is good. That's all you need from cakes. Yum. Cake. Yems pleems. Doctor Who RPG campaign confirmed. Well, the Crooked Moon one will be pausing for a while because Sawyer has to. No, actually, no, that's not true anymore. I can't remember. There's a general enthusiasm for one. I'm here for it. Yeah, we're not sure. There might be a thing where Sawyer has to not be able to come to RPGs for a while, so we're going to put a Crooked Moon on pause, and Doctor Who's a possible thing. Who knows? I like the idea. Goofy space adventures. Or goofy historical adventures. Or goofy space history. Goofy. You're allowed to create a character that's just Stephen Moffat. And you always have the worst ideas to get out of a situation. Yeah, so it doesn't know their schedule, so we might have to pause and you might run Doctor Who without knowing anything about Doctor Who, which is, again, in my opinion, the best way to do it. As a certified fan of Doctor Who, I am not the person who should be running it. It should be someone who knows nothing about it. You don't put the fans in charge of Doctor Who, please. Stop doing that. Lord almighty. But yeah. That was a stream. I hope you enjoyed a stream. I just realised I have Jamie Matheson's Wikipedia page up. This was the guy who did the episode with Leandra, or whatever his name was. And under notable works in his Wikipedia page, it says Mummy on the Orient Express, Flatline, Oxygen. Does not mention that other episode. He only wrote 4, and they just bothered writing the 3 that were good. Anyway. Oh, there's Akiro. Hello, Akiro. How you doing? Hey, Akiro, we did the Weeping Angels. They ranked high. They ranked the same as the Daleks. They should have been higher, but too many episodes that weren't good. Not saying you can join, but if there is space open, your game. Yeah! Are we on board? Fun times. Cheeb is very excited about the idea of the Master skating on the Rosetta Stone, Kiro, because I mentioned their penchant for disguise. Oh, and sad Dalek friend Dalek Sec also became a thing inexplicably. Oh, Oh yeah, Are You My Mummy? Yep, we did Empty Child. We did the top. I'll read them off again. We did Empty Child, Silurians, Weeping Angels, Leandra. One day I'll remember his name. The lion guy from The Girl Who Waited, or The Girl Who Lived. The Toclophane, Peg Dolls, Candyman with a K, Jonathan Sim's Master. I did a very, very good drawing of Jonathan Sim. Trust me, don't have to look at it. The Whispermen, Time Beetle, Dalek Sec, Arcturus from Curse of Peladon, the Collector from the Sunmakers, and the not Satan from the Satan Pit. You will judge harshly. Don't worry. So is he. Every master would skate away on the Rosetta Stone. They absolutely would. I cannot think of a single one that I know of personally and have seen who would not do that. The method, the way they would hold themselves doing that would be different. That's interesting. I would draw all of them and their pose on the Rosetta Stone as they skate away. Why are there so many Jonathan Sims in Britain? Well, only one of them, like... I don't know. Yeah, different John Sims. This one is at least an H in the John. Yeah, the Delgado Master, I imagine, would be skating on it perfectly upright. Ainley would be doing, like, surfer dude pose. While spinning like a ribbon or a hat or something. Sim would be flipping you off. Missy would be dancing and twirling an umbrella. And Dewan would just be screaming at you. But anyway. I also want to know more about the bloody War Master. They're only in the audio adventures. We get like a minute of Derek Jacobi being the Master, and then he turns into Jonathan Sim. And I'm like, Derek Jacobi's perfect as the Master. Come on, give him to me. Oh dear. I'm not paying friggin' 15 quid for an audio adventure just to listen to him. Anyway. Words, yes. I have every answer to any question under the sun. Nah. Which sun? The one from the Sunmakers? Have you paid your taxes? Is there anything else to say? I don't think there is. It's very hot. I need to open windows. Have a lovely everybody. Is the sun also an egg? I don't believe there is an episode in which the sun is an egg. There is an episode in which the sun is living, or a sun is living, I should say. A star is a living entity. And they're siphoning it for fuel, and they don't know it's alive, but that fuel is taking people over because it's a living thing. They didn't know that. The episode's called 42. It's not very good. Sun is a chicken. Sun is not a chicken. It's not a chicken at all. No chicken in the sun. No sun-fried chicken. Nor is it a sun-roasted tomato. It's chicken because worm. No! I'm gonna leave before more egg-related shenanigans occur. Have a lovely everybody. I'll see you around. Back tomorrow for Doodles. Look after yourselves. Goodbye, bye, 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 bye.